Welcome to Basagan Trip. We're back after a few months of hiatus. My name is Leloy Claudio. I teach Southeast Asian Studies at the Department of Southeast Asian Studies at the University of California, Berkeley. I'm back, pero ngayon OFW na ako at dahil quarantine ngayon, everything is on Zoom anyway, so we can resume Basagan Trip on Zoom. So for today's episode, our welcome back episode, ang guests ko are two friends who wrote a very important piece on Rappler.com. And the title of the piece was very simple, mga kaibigan. Ang title niya, Should Christians Protest? At yun yung topic natin ngayon, Should Christians Protest? Bibigyan ko ng opportunity ang two brilliant authors na to explain further kung ano yung sinabi nila dun sa article na yun. So with me today, he's a returning guest sa Basagan Trip, si Jail Cornelio, who is now an associate professor, kaka-promote lang yan, and director of the Development Studies program at the Ateneo de Manila University. And he's also, syempre, outstanding young scientist of the National Academy of Science and Technology. At ang kanyang partner is si Rico Villanueva, who finished his PhD in Hebrew Scriptures at the University of Bristol in the United Kingdom. He teaches sacred scripture at the Asia Graduate School of Theology and the Loyola School of Theology at the Ateneo de Manila University. So, pasensya na, tatlong Atenista po ang magsasalita today. Kasama na ako doon. So, I don't know who wants to take the first question, but my first question, whoever wants to take it, is simple. Usually, pag may sinusulat tayo na article na to, meron tayong konting galit. Bakit kayo nagalit enough to write this article?
Kuya Rico should answer that.
Uy, naku. Delikado naman kagad yung tanong mo.
Or there's a fire that's burning. O kahit hindi galit, there's a fire. What lit the fire?
Well, nagagalit ako kasi nung panahon pa lang ng mga Kastila, yung kinuot ko yun sa article natin. No? At sinayad ko doon yung Jesuit natin na kasama again sa Loyola School of Theology, si Mario Francisco, na sinabi niya, ginamit na noon ng mga Espanyol yung imahe ni Jesus na mapagtiis, no? Maamo, yan. Hindi siya lumalaban to control us, no? To maintain their rule over us. You know, mga Katoliko yun noon, no? Tapos ngayon narinig ko naman, may narinig ako na nagsasabi naman, protestante na ngayon, pastor naman, na ginagamit din ang parehong image ni Jesus, no? And this time, ginamit naman niya yung 1 Peter na, no? Chapter 2, from the text na verse 23, I think, no? Na si Jesus mapagtiis, you know, and he bore silently yung kanyang harapan, no? Hindi siya gumanti, hindi nag-revile back, you know, even though he was reviled. But this time, ganun din, no? Na parang patahimikin naman tayo, yung in a way, mag-protest, huwag mag-protest, o kung mag-protest man, yung sinabi ni J. Hilt nga na very polite, you know.
Right.
That's right.
Theology of politeness. Kaya medyo ako doon na naapektuhan ako na why are we doing that? No? Why are we using the image of Jesus? So that made me think na teka lang, kailangan natin itong i-address. At least that's from my side as a theologian, as a biblical scholar.
How about you, Jail? What lit the
Sa
fire?
akin, no, I mean, sa akin, it's personal at the same time it is scholarly. Personal kasi both as a Christian and as a minister myself, parang I find it very problematic when scriptures like that are being used to subjugate, to discipline our people. And obviously, in a very, paano ba to? Parang misleading manner. And, you know, to put it bluntly, misinterpretation ng text. That's why I had to co-write it with Kuya Rico, who's a biblical scholar. But the other is also scholarly. My recent interest has been, Paps, as you know, has been about the unholy marriage between religion and politics in this country.
Okay.
And while it was the Catholic Church that did that for the most part of our history, and now we're seeing the emergence of many evangelical churches, not just evangelical churches, but also other religious movements that are making their presence felt in politics. And I feel that in as much as I welcome religious participation in politics, we also have to problematize the consequences of what they do.
Right. So, what is it in particular na gusto mong i-problematize ngayon, Jail?
Oh, in particular, when religion is used to simply accept, wholesale, lock, stock, and barrel, if you will, yung authority
Okay.
ng president or ng ginagawa niya as if he is infallible, more infallible than the Pope. Hindi ba, Kuya
Okay,
Rico?
okay.
Oh, and because he's divinely appointed.
So from a layman's perspective, ang sasabihin sa inyo, keep religion within religious matters. And then keep politics within political matters. So you're essentially saying that that the line between those two is essentially permeable. May overlap yun. Nasaan ang overlap ng religious commitment at ng political commitment?
Maganda yung question ngayon, Leloy, no? Kasi actually yun yung isang main problem ng mga, sa tingin ko, ng mga evangelical, siguro mga Catholic din, na yung politics at saka yung religion, Jesus, no, hiwalay. Kaya nga yung image si Jesus, mapagtiis siya. Tapos, dinagdagan pa yun ng politics yan outside yan ng religion. Kaya mapapansin mo kahit sa mga sermons ngayon, ang dami na nangyayari dito sa Pilipinas, pero wala, kung kami mga sermon, halimbawa sa FB or whatever, hindi binabanggit yung mga nangyayari. Kasi parang feeling mo tuloy, nasa Pilipinas ba sila?
So ano ba yung mga nangyayari? Ano ba yung mga nangyayari?
Yung katulad niyan, yung mismong presidente mismo nagsabi na okay lang yung ginawa ni Sinyas, ako na bahala dyan. The law is the law. Pero ako ba na bahala? I mean, that's very against the biblical teaching of justice. Kasi lahat tayo pantay-pantay sa harapan ng Diyos. We are created, all of us, in the image of God. Kahit si Dodong pa yan, yung Dodong na fish vendor ba yun? Jail, inulit, tapos nandito yung general. Dahil ba general siya, tapos malapit siya sa presidente, okay lang yan. That's a big problem for me. Bilang Kristiyano, dapat hindi ganun ang pananaw natin.
So in the article, actually, you point out na maraming tinatalo na politiko si Jesus. You said, for example, that the Pharisees were political leaders, and you even hinted that to be crucified is effectively a kind of political punishment, right? Because hindi naman religious authorities ang nagpako kay Jesucristo sa krus, kundi mga Romans were effectively political leaders. So, hindi maiiwasan na meron talagang political valiance or saliency yung ginagawa ni Jesucristo ng panahon na yun.
If I may add there, isang mistake kasi kaya kailang distortion ng biblical reading na ngayon, na si Jesus hindi siya political. Lagi ko narinig yan He attacked the Pharisees, religious leaders siya, the priest, high priest. Okay. Pero hindi naman niya ina-attack yung government. That's wrong because yung mga Pharisees noon are also political leaders. Tapos yung namamahala sa temple, high priest, is the representative din ng Rome. Yeah. Basically, yung tinaob ni Jesus yung mga table, that's a protest, demonstration. Right. He is demonstrating against the government of his time. Right? Jesus can do that. Why can't we?
Right. And then from a sociological perspective, Paps, Kuya Rico, yung understanding that religion is separate from politics is post-Westphalian at saka Enlightenment thinking.
Okay, paliwanag natin yung dalawang concept.
Para lang magets, para lang maintindihan even ng mga religious people na yung to argue na separate yan is a modern project. It's really the product of modernity. Ibig sabihin, yung idea na religion and politics galing yan dun sa kasaysayan ng Europa, and after ng dun sa Westphalian Treaty, ang understanding was ihihiwalay na religion at church from state. And dati kasi, the idea was that whoever was the monarchy and whatever the religion of the monarch was, yun na rin ang religion ng buong estado. And that was effectively dismantled after the Westphalian Treaty. Now, naging sumabay rin niya dun sa Enlightenment thinking na yung idea is that the state is a secular project, hindi yan pwedeng panghimasukan ng religion. And unfortunately, ang naging mentality ngayon, kahit sa mga constitution natin, di ba, meron tinatawag na church-state separation, which is certainly the case sa Pilipinas. Yes. Now, the problem is that when we assume that dalawang bagay, one is religion can no longer participate in politics. That's one problem. The other extreme problem is that when we assume that that religion wants to participate in politics, and we allow it to participate in however it wants it to be, however it wants to. And so I think merong midway na pwede nating tahakin doon and ask ourselves, meron bang democratic role or democratic participation ng religion? And doon ako nanggagaling naman as a sociologist. So when you have pastors or priests or whoever who say na tahimik na lang tayo, irespeto na lang natin kasi itinalaga ng Diyos si Duterte, so sumunod na lang tayo, then paano yung naging role ni Jesus Christ in challenging, for example, the very both religious and political leaders in his time? We're not being faithful to the text, but also we are not being faithful to who we are as Filipino citizens.
Okay. So, oftentimes, I don't know if you agree with me, pero yung image ng mga Pilipino ng Catholicism is an image of meekness. So, there's something in the Beatitudes about meekness. Pero yung sabi ni Kuya Rico, marunong din mag-alboroto si Jesus Christ. And that's what he did in the temple. And that's essentially not meek, that's anger. So, can I ask, what is the role of anger in the faith of a Christian during times of political injustice?
Malaki ang role. Kasi ang isang problem natin ngayon sa mga Christian, pagka-anger, ang tawag kagad yan, negative emotion, di ba? Notice yung word na nega, di ba? Parang masama kagad eh. Yung depression, yung down ka, lahat yan nega.
Oo nga. Sasabihin nila sa'yo, walang basagan ng trip. Kaya nga, itong show na to, basagan ng trip. Kasi important maging nega.
Mawawala itong show natin na to. Pero, actually, kaya nga, it's really unfortunate na binilabel kagad itong mga to, o nilabel na yan, negative emotion yan. Ang positive, yung joy, masaya ka lagi, meekness. Pero actually, kahit saan namang revolution o anumang change, malaki yung role ng anger, di ba? Hindi, of course, may extreme. Pero halimbawa, sa biblical point of view, yung zeal of God. Pagka hindi ka nagagalit, pagka merong immorality, injustice na nangyayari, ang laki ng problema mo. Ba't hindi ka nagagalit? Kasi kung titignan mo yung mga prophets of old, halimbawa si Habakuk, no? Violence, how long? Why? At pag hindi ka nagtatanong ng why, hindi ka man lang nadi-disturb, ang sarap ng tulog mo pa, na nangyayari na to sa paligid natin, itanong mo siguro kung totoo kang Kristiyano o baka hindi. No? Kasi part yun ng if you no longer become angry at injustice, and God is angry at injustice, then maybe iba na yung Diyos mo. I mean, to say it lang.
Perhaps there is a sociological input din there. Di ba sinasabi mo kanina na parang nega, or sabi ni Kuya Rico, nega ang anger automatically, lalo na sa ano ba tawag natin dito, sa Christian speak, sa Christianese, no? Sa Christian discourse. But in reality, from the point of view of the sociology of religion, yung ginagawa ko, at saka sociology of emotions, movements around the world are in fact built on grief and anger. Whether it's about the LGBT, it's about whether about women's rights, or whatever movement you can think of, lahat yan ay nakaangkla sa anger. So in a way, movements which gave birth to a lot of positive changes to society, no, karapatang pantao, galing yan sa very real human experience na anger. Anger about what? Anger na galit lang ako kasi gusto ko lang maging galit? Hindi kasi galit ka dun sa sitwasyon and things could be better. And religion, faith, has a big role there in framing that in a way na sinabi ni Kuya Rico, justice.
Okay, if you don't mind, both of you, kailan kayo nagalit? Was there any particular moment na nagalit kayo?
Ako nung simula pa lang, halimbawa yung election pa lang yung nag-joke ang president dun sa rape. Di ba naalala mo nung sa Davao may ni-rape na Australian missionary.
Sana nauna si Mayor.
Sana nauna na siya. I mean, there's really something wrong here. And then, tumatawa yung mga tao. At ang kakalungkot doon, yung maraming mga Christians din ang nag-affirm pa noon, no, by voting him, And I cannot understand that. Of course, alam natin ano na nangyari pa. Ang dami pang ginawa siya aside from that. So, there must be something wrong here. Noong nagalit na ako noon. But of course, and I said it in the pulpit as well when I preach. But I realized na feel ko noon na, oops, parang maraming hindi agree sa akin dito. Alam mo yun, yung alam mo na maraming kakampis kahit sa ganong action.
Pero nabanggit mo yung prophets. Prophets aren't listened to, especially in their own country. Right?
It's a good point. I mean, that's an encouragement for me.
Okay. Ikaw,
Pops,
Pops.
ako naman, sa akin naman ako, and alam mo yung naging position ko, at the onset, I was rather sympathetic. Kasi, di ba, sociologists want to listen to what people say and what people feel. And somehow naiintindihan ko yung massive support for the president. Pero sa akin, naging turning point, yung war on drugs. Especially because I did research together with some other colleagues on this and published on how religion has been used to justify the war on drugs. I've written about that sa Rappler, and then kami ni Aaron Medina at sa ni Iya Maranyon sa Ateneo, and pinakita namin doon how texts from the Old Testament and the New Testament were being used by both Catholic priests and Protestant pastors.
Can you give me an example, please?
Okay. Gusto mo yung nakakatuwa, yung nakakagalit sila?
Nakakagalit, sige. Ang tema naman natin yung galit.
Halimbawa, ito very clear to. Yung si President Duterte is like King Josiah. Si King Josiah back in the days of Old Testament was the king who eradicated yung idolatry sa bayan. So parang ang interpretation is Duterte is our King Josiah right now. Tinatanggal niya lahat ng mga kasamaan sa bansa natin. Isa pa, ito directly sa interview na ginawa ko. We've got a pastor who said, hindi ba mas okay na it's better to tie, there's a passage, Kuya Rico, you can help me here. There's a passage in the New Testament, si Jesus Christ sabi niya, it's better to tie a big rock around the neck of a man and then throw him into the sea than for him to keep deceiving. Tama ba ako? Yun ba yung terminology nun? Deceiving children and exploiting children. And then, of course, yung pinaka cherry on top of it all is yung Romans 13, verse 1. Nandun yun sa aming article ni Kuya Rico. Ginagamit yun parate to say na the government has the authority given to it by God Himself. And so we are tasked as faithful Christians to submit to the authority, the human authority, and by default, we're submitting to the authority of God. Lahat yun oppressive.
So, it seems to me that the sacred scripture, the Bible, is very open to interpretation. And itong mga pastors, itong mga priests who read it this way are only interpreting it in light of what they feel is, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, in light of what they feel is necessary during this period. I guess what makes you think that you have a better reading than them? Well, I know you have a better reading than them, but I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
The Hebrew scholar should answer this.
Ganon. I think hindi lang dito yung what we call this scholarship ang kailangan when we talk about sacred scripture. I mean, of course, sa secular, yung kahit sa pag gumagawa ka ng PhD sa biblical studies, you can do it even without prayer. May supervisor nga na, di pa, kung nagsisimba to, gano'n. Pwede mong gawin yun sa level na yun eh. So, hindi lang sa intellectual. Pero, kailangan una-una talaga yung heart mo. Katulad sa Romans 13, verse 1. Pwede mo talagang gamitin yun in any way. No? Pero, wag sanang focus lang sa Romans 13. Whenever we interpret a text like that, marami ka i-consider una yung nature of God. No? Who is God? So, theology. Ganun ba ang Diyos? Pag siya'y nagputos, gawin mo ganun. Ganun ba ang tingin natin sa Diyos na pag nagputos siya, submit ka na lang. Yun eh. How do you view God? So, theology nando doon. Tapos, pangalawa, yung anthropology din, biblical anthropology. Ganun na ba ang tao? Pag na robot lang, did God create us na pag may inutos siya, gawin mo lang, bow ka lang. No, may free will nga tayo eh. God took the risk eh.
Yeah.
Diba sa Genesis 3 at marami pang iba. So, kasama pa doon yung Christology. I don't think, sinunod ba ni Jesus yung Romans 13? Did Jesus obey Romans 13? Technically, we cannot say that because Romans 13, the book of Romans was written after Jesus. So, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin. Pero kahit na halimbawa sinulat siya before Jesus, kung ibabase mo sa interpretation ng mga Pilipino ngayon, maraming Pilipino ngayon, ang Romans 13, hindi sinunod ni Jesus yung interpretation nila, ha? Nandi Romans 13. Kasi nag-comment siya kay God eh. I mean, nagtanong si Jesus kay God mismo eh. Di ba sa cross? My God, why? I mean, hindi lang yung pamumuna, ha? You are basically claiming to God the main authority. Kasi ang tingin ng mga Pilipino ngayon, Romans 13, wag kang pupuna. Wait a minute. If Jesus ipumuna mismo sa pinaka-Diyos, bakit tayo hindi pwedeng pumuna? So may mga theological implications, marami. So theology, anthropology, Christology, ecclesiology pa, marami pa yan. So when we interpret the text, isang pagkakamali, yung masyadong literal lang, yung hindi nila tinitingnan yung pagkakaiba noon tsaka sa panahon ngayon. Pero ang pinaka-importante rin katulad binigay ko sa inyo kanina, yung heart natin. At saka yung interpretation pa natin, sino ang nakikinabang? Yung nasa power o yung nasa baba? Pag ang nakikinabang, halimbawa yung silence, halimbawa, sino ang nakikinabang doon? Yung nasa power eh.
Tsaka sa akin, sorry.
Yeah. Yung kakampi ng Diyos, yung mga nasa baba lagi eh. Yun ang...
Tsaka sa akin yung isang lente na pwedeng gamitin dyan, hindi man kailangan lagyan ng ology eh. Gamitin mo lang yung mata mo. Ang daming patay. Libo-libo yung namamatay. So how do you respond to that? So I think what we're, mag-input ako ng konti. I think what we're neglecting is yung basics pa. Yung basic morality, because you tell a child doesn't know anything about advanced Christology, theology, biblical studies. Alam lang niya na when you murder people on the street, there's probably something wrong with that. But I think there's a biblical basis here because, of course, Jesus tells us to look at the world with the eyes of a child, right?
Yeah.
May ganun, di ba? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well done.
Salamat. Lumalabas sa pagkatingista ko.
Maganda yung sinabi mo na yun, yung pagbukas yung mata mo. Pero tanggapin din natin na hindi ganun kasimple rin eh. Alam mo, minsan isip ko yan eh. Ba't hindi nila mag-gets? No, ano ba yung, kaya may mga lens eh, di ba? Parang, ano ba yung mga lens? Yun, doon pumapasok yun. Ano ba yung mga teolohiyang tinanggap nila? Tapos nilagay doon. Not to mention pa yung tinatawag natin na mag-gets kasi may problem. Mali na tinatawag nila, which is, kinabasa ko si Bonhoeffer kagahapon.
Yes.
Yung folly daw, mas matindi pa yung sa evil eh. Kasi yung folly, parang nasa underspell na yung tao. Hindi niya magets. Yun ang isang problema pa. So, dapat bukas mata niya eh. I hope. Pero kita mo naman, dami-dami ng pinatay dito, di ba? Pero, ba't ganun yung popularity pa rin niya? So, there must be something else. Siyempre, kasama yung spiritual warfare, whatever sa mga Christians, di ba ganun din yan eh.
And that's, I think, a sociological question now.
Yes, Paps. Oo.
Because it's a question of why people maintain certain beliefs, and in certain respects, the theology is just being used to justify pre-existing belief systems or beliefs.
Or discursive. Pwede siyang pareho.
Pwede nagbabalikan.
Pwede theology engenders your position, your political position, and then political position also.
Chicken and the egg to.
Although sa research, sa sociology of religion, meron siyang clear distinction eh. Parang meron silang two separate pathways. But for now, we can argue na meron silang discursive dimension. And sa Pilipinas, dun sa article namin ni Kuya Rico, ang sinabi namin doon, posible na itong ganitong diskurso, yung theology of politeness, you may disagree, but as long as you are not disagreeable, as long as you express it politely to the person that you're criticizing, yung theology of politeness niyan, gaya na sinulat namin doon, it's proclaimed by the privileged in the service of the privileged. But I don't. Obviously, that's not my theology, and thankfully, the sociologist that I am helps me also understand na yung mga theological proclamations na yon na pinipreach sa sa pulpit, may pinanggagalingan pala. And saan ba to galing? Number one, tingnan natin, sino ba yung mga pastors na ito at ano yung mga churches? Hindi ba mga middle class? Hindi ba mga upper class? They do not want to rock the boat. They want security. They want safety. Right? Pero i-contrast natin yan dun sa mga theological reflections na halimbawa na nag-emerge sa Latin America or sa mga Black African American communities na yun, galit galit na ang Diyos na pinaniniwalaan namin ay Diyos na mapagpalaya, Diyos na namatay upang palayain ang mga pinapaslang, bigyang buhay ang mga kinitil ang kanilang buhay, etc., etc. And this is why I believe na inasmuch as there are people who think that religion should not participate in politics, my view is that whether you believe in secularism or not is immaterial, kasi by default people's religious ideas affect their political positions and the way they behave politically speaking. And therefore, kailangan ng malalim na public theology.
Okay, so dito sa public theology na to, pwede na mga Kristiyano, kahit hindi mga Kristiyano, actually kahit ako, non-believer naman ako, pero naniniwala ako sa broad concept ng isang mapagpalayang Diyos, or hindi ko man tawagin na Diyos, isang lipunan na mapagpalaya. And my faith is something that's external to me. It's something that's bigger than who I am. Diyos man yun, lipunan, kung ano man yun. Pero tawagin natin siyang Diyos na mapagpalaya. Ano ang magiging payo ng Diyos na mapagpalaya sa mga Pilipino ngayon, sa tingin niyo?
Maganda yan. Magsimula tayo sa sociologist.
Wow. Funny kasi
we'll close on this. Sige.
Ako, ang position ko is that ang mapagpalayang Diyos ay Diyos na ang sasabihin ng Diyos sa Pilipino ngayon ay kasama kita. At kasama mo ako. At maraming mga passage sa Bible. At makikita natin, mula Genesis hanggang Revelation, ni isang beses hindi sumama ang Diyos doon sa mapaniil. Sumama siya doon sa Hebrew people na ginawang slaves sa Egypt. Sumama siya doon sa mga slaves in Rome, kaya merong epistle to the Romans. Sumama si Jesus doon sa mga mangingisda. At sumama si Jesus doon sa mga adulterous woman at doon sa Samaritan woman. Sumama rin at sa pinakadulo hanggang Revelation, si Jesus babalik siya para dun sa mga minamahal niyang inalipin. So therefore, from Genesis to Revelation, it's not a story about God's triumphalism. It's about God's rescuing people who have been enslaved one way or another. So therefore, ang mensahe ng Panginoon sa bayan natin ngayon, hindi kita pababayaan, hindi kita kalimutan.
Thank you. Sa akin naman may mga iba-iba akong mga pumapasok sa mind ko, marami. Kulang yung time na. Pero merong isang Indian theologian na he spoke in a multi-religious gathering and he talked about the God who is angry at injustice. And then after that, nung nagko-coffee na raw sila, merong isang teacher or scholar from another religion. Sabi niya, do you know that, I think sa Hindu group naman, sabi niya, do you know that your God, the God of the Bible that you're saying, I think He's the only God who is angry at injustice. And that struck me, kasi kahit ngayon gumagawa kasi ako ng Bible commentary sa Book of Psalms. And dumaan ako dun sa Psalm 82, kung may time yung mga listener natin later on, na God took His position among the gods, assembly of the gods yun. Tapos nagalit si God, si Yahweh, kasi yung mga gods na iba, very unjust sila. Kaya tinanggal niya sila sa mga power nila. And then, so it's a heavenly scene. Very interesting yung kasi may medyo controversial yung Psalm 82. Do you mean marami ibang Diyos? No? Marami ibang Diyos sa mundo. Pero kakaiba ang Diyos kasi yung Diyos ng Bible, si Yahweh, of course, Judeo-Christian, yung religion natin yan. Kasama sa tradition natin. siya lang yung Diyos na sabi doon, kung tama man yung sinabi ng Hindu scholar na yun, He's the only God who's angry at injustice. That's one. Kaya, kung siya yung Diyos natin, sundan din natin yung prophets din niya, galit sila. Pangalawa, He's also the only God from my study of the lament, kasi ang research ko is on the lament. Yung mga not so happy bits ba? Yung mga maraming basagan. Maraming mga lament. No? So yun yung ano ko, kasi napansin ko rin, nagpa-pastor ako na, ba't panay positive lagi? Samantalang sa experience natin, ang dami mga negative. At ang napansin ko, if I may add to what that Indian scholar said, I mean, God of the Bible is also, if I may say, the God who allows himself to be questioned. Especially when it comes to injustice. Saan ka nakakita ng Diyos na yun, no? Sa Exodus 32, halimbawa, nagsabi si Moses, Lord, why would you destroy your people? Kasi di ba sabi niya ron, gumawa sila ng golden calf. Sabi ng God, papatayin ko na yung mga yan, tumabi ka Moses. Sabi ni Lord, what will the people say? Nag-reason out siya ha, kay God. Saan ka nakita ng gano'ng human being? Nagre-reason out. Tapos sabi doon sa text, and God changed his mind. That's literally the Hebrew there. God allows his people not just to argue with him, but to even win the argument. Ganun ang tingin ng Diyos sa atin. I mean, mga kapatid, if I may call you, mga kaibigan, God does not look down on you, parang tao ka lang, sino ka ba? Kaya very empowering yun para sa akin eh. Bilang isang Pilipino na we've been subjugated, ang baba natin na sarili natin. No, God looks at us as covenant partners. Kaya nga nung nandito si Jesus, sabi niya sa mga alagad niya, I no longer call you slaves, or I call you friends, sabi niya sa John 15. At saka ang gusto niya sa mga followers ni Jesus, ayaw niya yung yes lang. Gusto niya yung nag-engage eh. Nalulungkot lang ako kasi nandito tayo ngayon sa panahon ito na meron tayong leader o government na para bang hindi ka pwede magtanong. Wala pwede mag-reason. Delikado ka eh. Kaya nga, kung ang mangyari sa amin ni Jail after this. Pero nakakalungkot yun. No? Pero at the same time, na-empower ako kay God kasi kaya dapat tumingin tayo kay God talaga eh, kasi very empowering siya eh. We might have a government now who is very disempowering. Kaya nga talagang Diyos na lang pag-asa natin. Kaya yun ang kaya doon sa aming pinapakita doon. Si Jesus, yung image of Jesus, is a God who's also angry with injustice. And he's also the Jesus who asked his Father, why? Tayo pwede rin. Kaya alam mo yung lament, very political.
So yung napagtanto ko doon is actually, and I guess we can close on this dahil napakaganda ng sinabi ni Kuya Rico, is that the Gospels, the Bible is a critical text.
Exactly.
Ako mismo na hindi Katoliko, hindi Kristiyano, ini-engage ko itong text na to, yung Christology, yung theology, para ma-challenge ako. And I think that's the point of reading critical texts like that. Para meron kang trip, pero mababasag yung trip mo dahil heavy yung binabasa mo, dahil negative yung binabasa mo, at dahil yung binabasa mo sinasabi na kung ano yung ginagawa mo ngayon, kulang pa yan. Mag-isip ka pa. Meron pang isa pang nivel ng pakikitungo. Meron pang isang nivel ng konsyensya na hindi mo napupuntahan. At siguro yun yung napagtanto ko sa pakikipag-usap sa inyo at sa pagbasa sa napakagaling yung essay. I-refer ko lang ulit yung ating mga readers. Very simple title, Should Christians Protest? That's a rhetorical question because obviously their answer is yes. And hopefully after watching this episode of Basagan ng Trip, your answer is yes too. Maraming salamat po.
Salamat.